The job market is so brutal right now. Many people are struggling to actually go out and find jobs, but those who do find jobs are also now finding issue with the way that their employers are treating them with the conditions that they are subjected to. And honestly, it can range from numerous things, from the pay levels, to the conditions at the workplace, to the way the customers speak to them. There's so much to unpack here. So I want to break this down and dissect what exactly is happening here. Is it a sign of a broken job market, or is it a sign of people not approaching job vacancies correctly? This is an extract from a Forbes article that was published recently, addressing why it's so difficult for young adults in particular to find good, well-paying jobs. Young adults are having a challenging time finding good, well-paying jobs. The job market is extremely competitive, as more and more Americans attain college degrees. Furthermore, employers are requiring unrealistic professional experience for entry-level positions, making it difficult for recent graduates to compete in the job market. If you conduct a search for entry-level jobs on LinkedIn, you'll see job listings requiring 3 to 5 or more years of relevant experience. Well, there are 2 key points to take away from that particular extract. It looks like having the college degree will not be the differentiator. Your work experience will be the differentiator. And there's a video circulating on TikTok of a girl who has 2 different degrees but is still struggling to find work. So let's go ahead and take a listen and see what she says.
Anyone explain to me how I have 2 degrees? I have 2 degrees. Oh, and a certificate. A little extra, right? I have a certificate. May not be a master's, but it's something extra along with the 2 degrees, you know? I'm trying to apply for jobs right now, and the thing is that the only person I have responding to me is a man from a tech company saying, "Hey, you want to answer some customer service problems? You want to answer some customer service calls?" No, Bart, I don't want to answer your calls. No offense, but I'm a little more qualified than to just be sitting around answering your customer service calls, Bart, okay? I'm sorry, but Bart is the only one who's responding to me. So what am I supposed to do? And I'm looking down at these and I'm looking at them and I'm kind of wondering. I'm like, what was this for again? Oh, I don't know.
Well, clearly there's a lot of palpable frustration there, and I can understand that. I mean, it's a tough time for anyone, especially for people who are just graduating college. But I think that kind of highlights the point as to why the work experience is so important. Having the college degree will not be enough on its own, because if you're going up against several hundred candidates who all have degrees, then you share that common denominator with everybody else in the candidate pool. So there's nothing unique about having the degree anymore. With regards to the reason why employers are asking for work experience for entry-level positions, like 3 to 5 years worth of work experience, I can kind of understand the meaning behind why they're doing that. Remember what I said earlier about several hundred people applying to the same position from all over the country? Well, what does that mean? It means employers have their pick. They can choose the best of the best, not just advertise entry-level positions anymore. They can hire the creme de la creme candidates. So if you had 2 standard candidates, one who has a degree and has done an internship for 2 years or so, and another one that has a degree but doesn't actually have any work experience, of course the employer is going to defer to the one that has the work experience because they've been there and they've done it, which means they triumph everyone else who doesn't have work experience but does have a degree. So I highly recommend, if you are at college, find a way to get some work experience under your belt. Whether it's through an internship, through part-time work, through volunteering, or through your parents if they can get you into the workforce, anything to give you a leg up and give you an advantage, because it will save you a tremendous amount of pain in a post-graduation world when looking for work. In fact, I will probably go one step further and say your work experience is probably more valuable than the degree itself. Now, the reason I say that is because with work experience, you've been in that establishment, you understand how it works, you understand how the system works, you know what it means to be professional, you know what it means to be on time, you know how to speak to your peers, you know how to speak to your colleagues, you can address customers and deal with different situations there, you've dealt with challenges at work, you can handle stress, you've experienced maybe burnout and been able to come back from that. There's a lot of value in having the work experience over the degree. So I cannot stress enough the importance of obtaining that work experience somehow. But if the worst should happen where you can't find any work experience in your chosen sector, I suppose the question then becomes, What's plan B? Well, you need to go back to the drawing board and analyse why it didn't work the first time round, because there are certain things in your control that you can positively affect, such as the preparation of your resume. Please keep your resume as concise and to the point as possible, because employers don't have time to go through 7 or 8 different pages of your documentation. You've got to remember the hiring process costs time, and time is money in the corporate world. From some of my countless interactions with Reddit on this particular subject, it seems that people who have graduated with master's degrees are struggling to construct effective to-the-point resumes. I will dive deeper into this in another video, but here are some basic tips on how to format a resume. First of all, keep it 1 to 2 pages long, maximum. A resume is not meant to be an essay. It's a summary, it's an advertisement of who you are as an individual and what you can offer the company. There'll be plenty of time in an interview to dive deeper into your resume and find out more about your work experience, your academic history, your achievements, etc. But for a first impression, 1 to 2 pages is more than enough. Don't list unimportant information. Remember, we've got to keep it succinct and we've got to keep it to the point. We don't need to know if you were a hall monitor or a prefect in school. Keep it as professional and as related to the job as you can. Use professional fonts and a suitable structure to list your resume. Use a professional font. Don't use something that's extremely difficult to read. Use something that looks clean, cut, and professional. As far as a professional structure is concerned, please avoid things like spelling mistakes and grammatical issues, because they're little annoying things that will put you in a really bad light. I mean, if an employer sees that and they're quite big on the English language, they'll just toss your CV aside without a second thought. So go back to the drawing board, find out where you went wrong, remodify, restructure, change something up, and then you have the positive mindset to go again. Now, on the other hand, sadly, not all circumstances can be within your control, and this is where the true brutality of the job market is exposed. We've spoken in the past that layoffs are happening, but we're getting more and more reports from the mainstream media saying that jobs are being added. So surely that's a good thing, right? Not quite, unfortunately. The number of ghost jobs on the market right now is staggering. For those who don't know, ghost jobs are essentially job postings for positions that have already been filled or are completely non-existent, meaning essentially that the hiring company is playing games with you. Now, you might be left scratching your head thinking, well, what's the point behind this? Why are companies advertising positions that they have no intention of filling? Well, quite frankly, it's all got to do with manipulating the job market in order to favour the employers. I mean, let's think about it from their perspective. If you leave job postings up for longer than 4 months, across different departments in your company, across numerous different locations all over the country, it gives off a pretty strong, solid impression that the company is growing pretty rapidly. I mean, just take a listen to this quote right here. Kelsey Libbert, co-founder of Fractal, a digital marketing agency. She says her company keeps ads up for associate positions even when they aren't hiring, because turnover for those jobs is often higher than other roles. Great, so you're just going to lie to everybody instead. Terrific. And the crazy part is, this is not just limited to entry-level positions. It can go right to the top to high-level executive position. It could be a job that's been advertised by a recruitment agency or a job that's been advertised directly on the company's website online. And that's where I empathize and understand the struggle that the job seekers are going through, because it can be so irritating when you hear older generations saying everybody's hiring, no one wants to work anymore. Well, okay, there may be some truth in that, but the majority of us aren't like that. We want to go out and find decent work. But the problem is, if we're being hoodwinked with ghost jobs, what are we supposed to do? It should be against the law to waste people's time in this way, but unfortunately it's not. And again, it comes back down to the brutal nature of the job market today. So let me end this video by offering up the following conclusion as to why the job market is so brutal right now. There are fewer unique candidates in the candidate pool. More people are going to university/college, meaning more people get degrees. They're no longer unique because it's the common denominator amongst candidates. As such, because everybody has a degree, you need to find another way to stand out and be unique, aka find work experience. Work experience is your greatest asset because it gives you the chance to showcase that you've taken the theory from the degree and applied it to a practical environment in the workplace, meaning that you can deal with the different types of challenges internally with colleagues or externally with customers. Polish up your resume. Please. Your resume is your self-promotion. It's your self-advertisement. You need that to be able to sell yourself to the employers. Otherwise, how are they going to know who you are and what you're about, along with what you can offer them, if you've got 7 or 8 different pages of documentation to sift through? It will just get lost in all of that data. So be precise, be concise, and be straight to the point. You also need to realize that circumstances cannot always be in your control. Sadly, it's the brutal nature of the job market that employers can give you the runaround by offering jobs that are either non-existent or have already been filled. That can most definitely lead to frustration on your part as the person who's applying for those roles, because of course you want to be able to get your foot in the door and start getting the experience and most importantly, the paycheck. But despite all that adversity, no matter how impossible it seems, please do not give up. It's a message I echo quite frequently, but if you can make a start on polishing up your resume, getting the work experience, making sure you do get the good grades, because of course, while the degree is the common denominator, you shouldn't neglect it. It is important to make sure that you do get a good grade. Please keep learning, please keep understanding where your skill set lies, and please keep going. Don't be disheartened if you don't land the job immediately. It only takes one to say yes. My friends, it's tough, it's difficult, I know, but just know you're not alone in this process, because all of us are going through the same thing. We're with each other every step of the way, and we'll keep going till we're all in a better place. Believe me, we will get there eventually. I'll be returning soon with some more tips and some more news headlines that grab the attention, but until that day, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.